Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is day 10 of the July Leetcode Daily Challenge. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about today's poem. Just a quick vlog-ish update. We did the bi-weekly contest for me earlier in the day, and you can take a look at that video. It's in my recent videos. And I was just not good. Like I woke up and I did not get enough sleep and I was just groggy the entire time. I think the lesson here is one, don't tank yourself for it, and maybe just get enough sleep and prepare yourself. Because looking back, I was like, I mean, the contest was harder than usual for sure, but I probably also should have, well, one is at least get off of problems, and I was able to eventually. I just struggled a lot with implementation. My ideas were right, I could have adjusted that with the ideas, but my implementation was just off. So, and implementation is one of those things that is more short term in that you can be practiced and it should be practiced, where the learning stuff is more deliberately paced with respect to problem solving, right? It's about making the connections in a good way. And today, even though I was making the connections in an okay thing and I was able to adapt some of it after the contest, so I think that's a little bit sad. At least not sad. There are a lot of things going on in the world, so it's not like sad in the grand scheme of things. But and people kind of give me comments about it being intimidating sometimes that I push myself. But for me, this is like one is don't worry that much about it. I'm not like actually like sad or whatever, but it's just like the competitiveness, the learningness, and this kind of ties into people asking me why I do these Leetcode contests and stuff like this. I could get a job, etc. Right? But like beyond a certain point, I don't need to practice anymore. So why am I doing these videos? Why am I doing And one of them is just that I find it fun, and the other part is that one of it is I find it fun because it's just like brain teasers, like crosswords. You just do it, right? And then the second part is that it's like playing. People call it a sport, and I feel it, right? Like you push yourself. Like we play basketball, and you miss the game-winning shot, say. I mean, yeah, you could say it doesn't matter, but you still feel like, okay, how can I do better next time? Maybe I'll practice. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I could have, practice my dribbling. Maybe if I was dribble a little bit better, I could be a little bit, like a couple of feet closer to the basket. I don't know, something basketball or there are a lot of things that we can do, and some of this is just competitiveness, right? Like I'm like I said, like if you play basketball, you're always looking to get better. If you play football or soccer, you're always working on things. Maybe you're wanting to get a little bit endurance. Maybe you're like there are a lot of things you can do just to be better, and that's how I look at it as well, right? Like when I go to the gym, at least for me, like I find it, and I'm, right after the gym, I'm not gonna be like, oh, be whatever about it. But when I'm in the gym, I'm always like, just channeling my energy, whether that's sometimes angry, or anger or whatever. Just like to get that extra rep in, right? It's not quite what you can do for these farms, but I think like that kind of just motivates, at least for me, motivate myself to kind of think a little bit better and think about how to learn and think about when to pivot and think about what my weak points are, and how to kind of work toward improving them. For example, today the Q4, I thought, and also this is one thing that I always say about greedy problems and why they're tricky. I kind of just hedged on to a greedy solution, and then and then my implementation was really bad, and that took the entire 40 minutes, even though like right afterwards, I'm like, oh yeah, greedy doesn't work. And right after I realized greedy doesn't work, I was able to rewrite it in like 5 to 10 minutes using another algorithm that was clearly like better. So anyway, a lot of these things is just about like, figuring out self-improvement and stuff like this. And so yeah, so don't take it, if you only see me like, especially on Discord, like beating myself up, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's like me going to gym. It's like, oh, or maybe not gym, because gym, I guess, is more robotic in a sense. It's almost like, yeah, like if I go, like if I had penalty kicks and I kicked it out of bounds, like I wasn't even shooting on target. Well, I'm gonna be upset, right? Like, and you'll be upset too. I mean, like you also, but in the same way that you also know that one, like yeah, if you miss the goal completely on a penalty kick, one, you know that you can do better. At least I know that I could do better. You know, you're confident in yourself, at least like in the direction, right? Like you kicked it well, and the goalie saved it. Well, you know that's that happens, right? But at least you know that you did what you're supposed to do. And for me, like if I just kick it out of bounds, didn't even like the goalie doesn't even have to move, and it didn't go toward the goal. Well, that's just me. Like I'll be sad, right? Like I'll beat myself. I'll be like But secondly, like I mean, we also know that like it doesn't matter, right? Like yeah, especially on these contests, like yeah, like I know that it doesn't change who I think about myself. Like I'm not gonna I'm beating myself up in terms of like competitiveness, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, I am worth less of a person because I didn't solve the Q4 from today or something like this, right? And I think some of it, and I'm not talking necessarily about myself, but people can and do take it too far for sure. And if you do, definitely take a step back. But for me, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, I've been working in software for, I don't know, I started programming more than 20 something years ago now. So like I made plenty of mistakes, and you just get, I wouldn't say you get used to it, and you don't want to get complacent per se, but you also like have seen it before, right? And also like I know what I want out, or at least I was gonna say I know what I want out of life, but maybe I don't. But I also know that like I said, if my rating goes up, I'll be happy, and if my rating goes down, I'll be a little bit sad. But that rating does not determine my worth, right? As a human being, as a person, as a whatever. What I consider important is treating how you treat people around you, and for me, that's good enough for me, And that part I am more consistent about, and less beating myself up. So don't worry about that. But in the moment, in the competitiveness, you'll see that, and I apologize if you take it differently. Anyway, okay. So I know this has been a very long update. Hopefully, this is a little bit hopefully it's useful. If not, let me know in the comments below. I try to kind of, or maybe I should have put this in its own video with respect to like lessons learned and stuff like this. Maybe in the future. But anyway, today's problem is easy, so hopefully we don't have to spend that much time. And hopefully if you're here because of me and not because you need help on this problem. But even if you do, that's fine. But and I want to, and if you do, for that reason, I want to say I appreciate it. It's like it's competitive for me, but it's not but it's not a big deal per se, because like you have and that's the other thing with rating, right? Is that like it converges to where you should be. So like in 5 months, or I don't even know, maybe even 5 weeks, like one contest doesn't change your rating. You'll just get back to where you need to be, right? Or your rate not need to be, but you'll get back to where you are, right? Or ought to be. So yeah, anyway, okay, let's actually get started on this problem. For those of you who are watching this for the problem, my apologies. Hopefully you watched it and fast forward. I didn't really expect this to be this long, but just chatting. Okay, today's problem is 746 min cost climbing stairs. You're given cost, and cost survives the cost of the ith step. Once you pay the cost, you can take 1 or 2 steps. Okay, so this is literally just Fibonacci, right? Variation. Of course, you're trying to minimize the cost, but otherwise it's Fibonacci. And in that sense, there are 2 ways you can do, right? Yeah, and I think one thing that I've been doing, just as an explanation, I've been doing top down, because, and here, it's a very straightforward top down, I think, if you have index. And you could do it forwards or backwards, it doesn't matter. You're trying to get to from 0 to the top of the 4. What is the top of the 4? Is it like the last step or the one past the last step? Oh, and you can start at 0 or 1. Okay. Okay, so it seems like we want to go past the last step. Okay. But yeah, but anyway, that's just like changing the base case. It doesn't really matter. But the idea here is that you want to go, as a recursion, you want to take 1 step forward or 2 steps forward, right? So then you have some function that kind of combines them. I think this is, like I said, if you do struggle with this, work with Fibonacci and stuff like that. Today I'm going to do a little bit bottoms up, and one thing that I am trying to get better at, maybe this is a little bit too simple for that, but is trying to be try to practice my bottoms up as well. For me, in general, I am able to do bottoms up by converting top down way, just from experience, from doing that a lot of times. But I would like to get better at jumping straight to bottoms up for problems that are a little bit non-standard. This one maybe is a little standard though, so we'll work together here. But the idea here is the same, right? So you have this thing, which the idea is that you have some function of index is equal to function of index plus 1, f of index plus 2. I think a little bit of confusion here, not necessarily confusion, is that for this problem is what I call symmetric, meaning that you could go from left to right or right to left, or you can think about it as going from bottom to top or top to bottom, right? Of the 4, I mean, not bottoms up or whatever. So here it's a little bit confusing in that you can write this, and also equivalently you can write, you know, as a function of something like that as well. And I think one thing that I would say is for these problems, for these functions, is really clearly define what you're asking out of the function, and that'll help you with the recursion. For this problem, like I said, it's symmetric. It goes, you know, both direction. Okay, so it doesn't. I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, but you can get the right answer in either way, right? But not every problem is like that. Max happens to be a function that comes out to, but let's say you have a weird idea where, okay, you know, a variation of this problem would be that, let's say you have the same, but maybe you have some negative value, right? And if you ever get down to the negative, you know, if you ever get down to 0, you have to stop, or something like this, right? I mean, I'm not saying that quite right, but basically, let's say you have the same problem, and you have negative values, and you're trying to minimize the cost, or you're trying to maximize the cost, and then you get negative and every time you have to stop if you reach a negative number. Well, in that case, that function is actually not symmetric, because going from A to B and hitting 0 is not the same as going from C to B, going the other way, and hitting 0, right? And there are 2 ways to write it, going forward or backwards, but they're actually different functions, and in that case, it is not symmetric. So I hope that makes sense. But for this one, you can be sloppy a little bit, but definitely make sure you're better about it. Okay, so, and here we'll do the space optimization. Maybe that's what we'll do for the rest of the video, is the space optimization chat. So yeah, how do I want to do it? So we have so okay, let's just say we have start A is equal to 0, B is equal to cos of 0, and then now we have to and why I use A and B is maybe a little bit obscure, but I'm just trying to mimic what I would do for Fibonacci, to be honest. So yeah, so then AB is equal to A will be equal to B, and B is equal to min of what was it? A plus cos of I, or B plus cos of I. Okay, and we start at 1. Okay, and then at the very end, we just return min of AB, because the last 2 steps will be here, and one of them will be the one that you want the answer from to get to the last step. So okay, and again, I'm also practicing. Sorry if I'm skipping a little bit in terms of explanation, but I'm practicing going, like, skipping to the space optimization problem. Let me if I don't have it in the comments, remind me in the comments. I'll put a link to the conversion from top down to bottoms up to the space optimization using another technique. So we'll do that. Let me give it a quick I think one thing that I forget is maybe n is equal to 1, but n cannot be equal to 1, so we're okay here. Is that okay? Okay, so that looks good. Let me choose the other one. Because I always am bad about off by 1, so I just want to make sure that this, I think this should be okay. but you know, it's always worth testing. And now I'm going to give it a quick submit, and it looks good. Yay. The pop-up didn't come up again. Oh, what the? Now it refreshed. Okay, the pop-up still didn't pop up, but now we have an 831-day streak. And yeah, it seems faster than last time. What did I do it just recursively last time? Yeah, so if you are curious about recursion or like the top-down method, check out my video from a year ago. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Stay good, stay healthy to good mental health. I'll see you later and take care. Bye-bye.